Hi, so this presentation will be comparing sustained attention in deaf children and hearing children. So this study was conducted in 2014 by Matthew Dye and Peter Holzer in the United States. So in the past, children who are deaf have been categorized as being distractible and unable to pay attention. This study was conducted to discuss whether there is a difference in how long deaf children can sustain attention when compared to hearing children. So majority of studies in the past used participants from hearing families. However, this study, the deaf sample consisted of children born into deaf families, so they had strong communication skills at a young age. So the participants involved were split into a hearing sample and a deaf sample. So the hearing children was 60 total, 29 boys and 31 girls, aged between 6 to 13 years old. They were recruited from Illinois, United States. None of the participants suffered from any hearing loss or any other sensory impairment. So there was 37 deaf children involved in the study, 17 boys and 20 girls, also aged between 6 to 13 years old. They were recruited from residential schools around Texas, Maryland, and Indiana that specialize in deaf education. So all the teachers are deaf and they primarily use American Sign Language. All the participants had severe to profound hearing loss and were born into families of deaf parents. All the participants acquired American Sign Language since infancy and did not have any cochlear implants. So the children were tested individually in a quiet room, either in their house or at the school they attended, free from any distractions. The task was explained to the children in their native language, whether that being English or American Sign Language. The children were not given any practice trials. The children were shown an apparatus used to display a sequence of numbers. The apparatus used was called the Gordon Diagnostic System Continuous Performance Task, as shown in the top right-hand corner. The central task was for students to press the button if they saw the number 9 preceded by the number 1. The sequence consisted of 3 blocks of 180 digits, where the target sequence appeared 15 times. However, the children were not aware of this. The results were then recorded and then analysed. So as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, if they saw a 1 and then a 9, they clicked the button, and any other sequence was not target. So this study used alpha cutoff as 0.05 to determine statistical significance. Overall, younger students displayed poorer sustained attention with a population mean of 3.36 when compared to older children with a population mean of 4.26. The study showcased boys having poorer sustained attention with a population mean of 3.74 than girls with a population mean of 4.18. However, there was no significant difference in performance between deaf and hearing children. Here is the table of results. So previous studies suggest that children who are deaf are distractible and unable to sustain attention. The results from this study, however, did not replicate these previous findings that deaf children cannot concentrate at the same level as hearing children. This may be due to previous studies primarily using participants born into hearing families. However, this study used children born into deaf families and went to deaf schools, thus having strong communication skills using American Sign Language from a young age. Many studies showcase the importance of children being able to communicate with the world around them to ensure their needs are being met and they are able to form meaningful relationships. This study suggests the importance of strong communication, and it does not replicate studies surrounding deaf children, as these children were born with parents and attended schools who specialise in deaf education. So the many strengths to the study, the teachers and parents were questioned to ensure the children didn't have any other learning disabilities or anything else that may affect their performance of the task, and everyone involved provided written consent from the individuals and their parents. However, there were limitations. Racial and ethnic factors were not taken into consideration. The deaf sample consisted exclusively of white Caucasian participants with some Hispanic participants. The hearing sample had greater racial diversity but fewer Hispanic participants compared to the deaf sample. The imbalance of these samples may have an effect on the study. So majority of studies conducted in the past have used deaf participants from hearing families. In future, I suggest more research be done on comparing deaf people who are born into hearing families compared to deaf people who are born into deaf families. This can help us assess how strong communication interactions in an earlier age can affect someone's social skills, sustained attention, and communication skills. And these are my references. The top one was the main study used. Thank you.